Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the chilly Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be, how can the narcissist wear the mask for so long? Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So that is a question I receive frequently. How can this person, the narcissist, how can they act like they're somebody when they're somebody completely different? And how can they pull it off for a year, 5 years, a decade, a lifetime? How do they do that? I'll tell you many reasons, and I'll jump right in right now. The first one is because they are a skilled manipulator. Wearing the mask is akin to you breathing air. It is their second nature, and they like to fool people. They like to manipulate people. They like to trick them and trap them. They like to get people to fall in love with them or to build relationships with them. And then as soon as these relationships are created, that's when the narcissist usually likes to pull the rug out from underneath them and place you or a person in the trauma bond. That's a place that you did not know existed. Now, having said all these things, as the thumbnail mentions, how can the narcissist wear the mask for so long? Like, wouldn't that, how can you do that? Like, could you even do it yourself, the person watching the video? Could you even be an inauthentic or non-genuine person even for an hour? Probably not, unless you're forced to. Think about this, like, meaning forced, meaning that you were under duress or something, you had to go with a bank robber or something like that. But with the narcissist, what do? This is what they do every single day. And let's say you married the narcissist and everything was going well. You were in the euphoric / love bomb stage in the beginning. And again, you told them you loved them and you wanted to start a family, etc. And that's when their pupils lit up like beach balls and they're like, boom, mission accomplished. I only had to put in 4 months of work on this one, and now the wedding bells will be a year from now, and I'll get supply planning the wedding, etc. But all these things, what I will do once I get the wedding ring on my finger, I will shift the power, I will shift the energy away from you and onto me. Because this is the push-pull, it's the high-low, it's the trauma bond, it's the narcissistic fog. That's where you were existing for a long period of time. And the narcissist, when they placed you there, what they did is they slowly removed the mask. Now, each and every day was a challenge when you were in the relationship. So I can assure you, before you got the wisdom on the narcissistic abusive cycle, you saw the mask slip throughout that relationship. You just couldn't put your finger on it. You couldn't identify what it was because you were not taught Narcissism 101 in school. So you were looking at the red flags and you were not trusting your instincts and intuition. And this is what the narcissist was banking on. They were banking on you turning a blind eye. They were banking on you not calling them out. They were banking on you believing in the mask, and you did all of the above. And then what happened is you figured out slowly over time that this poor behavior, it was ramping up. It was becoming more and more sinister, and it was happening more and more frequently. And just about the time you would call the narcissist out, what would they do? They would give you a mini euphoric stage again. They would have 1 or 2 days of peacefulness, of bliss, of serenity almost. And then you're like, wow, this relationship isn't that bad. Okay. And then boom, the mask drops again. And here comes devaluation. And here comes you being gaslit, stonewalled, given the silent treatment, enduring the smear campaign, being triangulated, experiencing rage fits. All these things that I mentioned on the channel are parts of the narcissistic abusive cycle. It's how they administer their punishment to their targets. And how the narcissist can wear the mask for so long, it's because, think about this. When you were in the relationship with the narcissist, there were times when they would not be around you. There were times when they would go on girls' or boys' days or weekends or trips, or they would go visit a friend, wink, wink, or go on a hunting trip, or go away for a weekend to take a class or something like that. These were times for the narcissist to reset. Now, what they were actually doing during these periods of time, one will never know. Did they actually take a class and graduate? I don't know. Did they meet friends and go on a trip hunting? Who knows? But the point is, they weren't with you. And when they weren't with you, they were either doing one of 2 things, or actually many more, but I'll give you 2 examples. One would be they could have been with the new supply. Yes, the new supply was baked in long before you even knew what narcissism was, and I can assure you that. And it wasn't just one source of new supply, it was probably multiple. But the second thing is, they weren't with you. So they were probably resetting or recalibrating. Maybe they were dishing out their abuse on somebody else for a weekend. I can't tell you. But what they were doing is they were trying to come back to you at times, recharged, and this is when they would reset themselves, because the narcissist needs to regulate themselves. And what they were doing when they were in the relationship with you, perhaps, is when they would go away on this 1-day trip or 2-day trips, or maybe it was a week, who knows, by themselves or with a group of people, what they would do is they would be away from you. They would let you recharge your battery. They would allow you some time away from them, whether you knew it or not, so you could actually get some calmness, some serenity, some peace. Now, would you still be being peppered with abuse, probably via text or phone call? Yeah, I'm sure you were. You were probably, maybe you were a parent to the children, and what did you do? You still had to check in with the narcissist, even though they were halfway around the globe, and you had to let them know what the kids ate. Did they make their bed? Did they do their homework? Why you shouldn't be feeding them certain foods and why you should have fed them certain foods. They were still trying to parent from afar. Again, that's for a whole separate video. But when they were away from you, whatever they were doing, again, we don't know, but we do know one thing, that allowed you to recharge your battery, at least for a little bit of time. And then so that when the narcissist would return, that mask would be super glued back onto their face because they too got away from you for a period of time. And what did they do? They readjusted the mask so it wouldn't slip off so much. And then boom, here we go. You go for another mini cycle of the narcissistic abusive cycle. That's how these things work. When you're in the deep end of the narcissistic fog and you don't know what's going on and you don't know how you got there and you've lost your identity, you've lost your sense of self, and you're working for the narcissist, because this is exactly how it happens, you can't wrap your head around what's going on. But what you do know is you need reprieves. You need time away from certain people to recharge your battery. But that is not healthy. It's not normal. It is not what you should be. Now, in a kind, loving, stable relationship, you need a couple elements. One, you need time together with your spouse. Number two, you need time apart for you to be a professional, business, whatever you're doing. Three, you need hobbies on your own and maybe some hobbies with your spouse. And the fourth thing is you need to allow them the same thing. So they should have time with you, without you, and with their friends and with their business. That's what a healthy, stable relationship is. But when you're with the narcissist, it's a conundrum because you want to be with them. You're drawn to them. There's an energetic, spiritual pull that you need to check in with them because you've been groomed and you've been trained and tricked and trapped into reporting right back to them. But on top of that, inside of your mind and your body, you're feeling anxiety riddled and you know that you need to get away from them, but you can't figure it out. That's why so often when the front door would open in the house, you didn't know if it was Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. You were holding your breath. You were counting the seconds till the narcissist would open their mouth. And would they be in a good mood? Would they not be in a good mood? Would you have a good evening, a pleasant evening? Would you have a stable evening? Or would you be peppered with abuse again, night after night, like that's exactly what happened with you? Now, all these things, how can the narcissist keep the mask on for so long? It's because they were playing the long game with you. You see, you provided something for the narcissist. There was a purpose for you in the eyes of the narcissist. Maybe it was to raise the kids. Maybe it was to put a roof over their head. Maybe it was to create a business with them. Maybe it was to loan them money. Who knows what it was? But the narcissist looked at you as an opportunity. And that's exactly how they see the new supply and the next new supply and on and on. That's how they look at their own kids, as opportunities. That's how they look at any person that walks the planet. The narcissist cares about one person, and it is not you. It's never been you, and it never will be you. It's themselves. And why they care about themselves is because in their tiny little Hollywood mind, the script must keep going around and around and around. And the bit players or the extras in that movie, at one point that you played a role in that movie, and so did everybody else. But these people and the roles are interchangeable. So whoever the star of that Hollywood movie is, we now know it's the narcissist. That's how they look at themselves. But anybody is interchangeable, and nobody is immune to the toxicity of the narcissistic relationship. Not one person on the planet. That's why you must understand that if you have the ability to go no contact, to block these people, remove them and delete them and remove all flying monkeys and people associated with them, that is the path if you can't utilize Grey Rock. Now, why I'm sharing, again, how the narcissist can wear the mask for so long, it's because they get opportunities to reset. They get time away from you. Think about this. Let's say the narcissist was a stay-home mom or dad, and you were the person earning all the money. Well, what happened there? I'll tell you what happened there is they were away from you for days on end. Maybe they were salespeople or salesmen, whatever, saleswomen, and they were traveling the country. Well, they were away from you. And now they would still check in with you. Maybe it was during the romantic or the love bomb stage, or maybe it's shortly after you got married. They were physically away from you, but yet they were tied to you, and they would talk to you on social media, on the smartphone, or text you, or give you a Zoom call, or call you up. And when they did that, what would happen is they would make you feeling all fuzzy and warm back at home at your house when you were the stay-home parent. And what were they doing? Sure, they were out around probably doing their job all across the country, the world, but they were getting supply sources while you were at home. Now flip the script. Let's say the narcissist was the stay-at-home mom or dad, and you were married to them, and you were out earning the money. Okay, well, what happened there? What happened there is the narcissist, again, was away from you. They were not in your proximity. So you two were not tethered together 24/7. And what did that do? That allowed the narcissist to get supply however they were doing it. If they were the stay-home mom or dad, they were getting supply on social media or apps, I can assure you, or maybe neighborhoods or people in the communities they lived with or hobby groups they had. But they were getting supply and you were out earning the money. So when you would come home, it would be the same thing. You would see the narcissist, and remember, back then you didn't know what a narcissist was, but you would see them and then you would feel good. Because why? Because you hadn't seen them all day and you missed them and you were probably in love and you were caught up in the trauma bond. And the narcissist knew this. They knew that they placed you there. So for them to wear the mask for so many years or decades, not only, number one, is it second nature to them. Number two, they're master manipulators. Number three, if they're not with you 24/7 for all those 10, 20, 30, 40 years, it's easier for them to disappear, get other sources of supply, or recharge their battery, or dish out abuse, or whatever they're doing, and then come back to you. That is exactly why. Because they don't have to wear the mask specifically with you much after the love bomb / euphoric stage. Now, do they wear the mask? Of course they do. But they now know they have you locked down. Again, if you moved, or if you married them, or had kids, or went into business, whatever, that's when you notice the cracks in the armor. That's when you notice things are going sideways. That's when you notice and you realize there's an energy and a power shift in the dynamic of the relationship. And the reason why that is because they now knew that they owned you. They had you where they wanted you. So for them to recharge and reset, of course they would dish out punishment and abuse to you. But many times they wouldn't do it exclusively to you. They would do it to immediate family members or past sources of supply, or to friends or colleagues, or to whomever, or to complete strangers. Think about this one, the narcissist calling up a CS agent for whatever service they need. Many times they pepper those CS agents left, right, and center. Why? Because the CS agent needs their job and they need to be on the phone and dealing with a toxic customer, and the narcissist knows this. And they know that the CS agent will be reviewed on the phone call. In other words, did they get 5 stars or 1 star, whatever. Narcissist knows this. That's why they take their abuse out usually on people that don't have the best jobs and the best circumstances. Again, of course, if you married them, that's a whole different situation. But understand why the narcissist can wear the mask for so long. It's because they weren't around you all the time. Now, let's flip this for a moment. Let's say the two of you, let's say you were retired and you got married later in life and you married the narcissist. And if this video resonates with you, drop comments below. Well, what happened there is, in the beginning of that relationship, it was probably all puppies and rainbows, and you two thought you were gonna grow older together, and you're gonna live your best life and all these kind of things. And that happens. I hear frequently during one-on-one sessions. But if that was you or is you, what happened there is, once the narcissist, you two got married or you moved in, that's when things shifted. And if you guys were both retired and you're living under the same household, and maybe you were traveling or whatever you were doing, but you were together, that mask slipped so often, it's mind-boggling, because you were with them all of the time and they couldn't keep it super glued to their face. Again, also, side note there, you married an aging narcissist. You just didn't know it because you didn't know what narcissism was, and you didn't know that some people, as they get older, they get more and more miserable. They get more and more consumed by the toxicity they've dished out throughout their whole life. And now you were the target because you fell in love with them or you married them. Understand the message, how the narcissist can wear the mask for so long. It's because another reason is because, think about this. Think about their past relationships. Were they together a long period of time? Probably not as long as, let's put it this way. The narcissist usually has multiple sources of supply. And that's why people that are friends of the narcissist, they say, wait, that person's not toxic. I've known them for 30 years. They're always great to me. They're great to you because you only see them once or twice a year, or you only text them, a couple times a week and for quick periods of time. You don't spend quality time with them for days, weeks, months on end. That's why you never really got to know them. Think about this. Does anyone ever really know who the narcissist is? Nobody does. Not one person does. When the narcissist has slithered away onto new sources of supply, you're left holding the bag, you're left scratching your head, and you're trying to figure out, how could they do that? They never loved me, they didn't care about me, they wore that mask for so long. What happened there? What happened there is they found what they believe to be a better viable source of supply, because most likely your health has taken a hit, your finances have gone to zero, your job, perhaps you lost it. In other words, what you had in the beginning of that relationship, a lot of it has been depleted or taken away from you. And then the narcissist just went on to another source of supply. So they don't care. Once they discard you, they don't care if you see the mask slip or not. If you want the truth, they want that mask to slip right in front of you. They want you to see exactly who they are. The caveat there is they don't want you to figure out who they are. They want to see that they want you to see how much disdain they have for you, how much they actually don't like you, and I'm being very polite there, how much they never cared about you. Yes, they want to do all of those things because they're trying to inflict the most damage upon you, and they're trying to make sure you don't heal. But the one thing they don't want you to do is figure out who they are, meaning a narcissist. That's the last thing they want you to figure out. But the mask, it will always slip. Think about a pair of shoes that you own, maybe a pair of walking sneakers or shoes. Well, you bought them, they're brand new, and then you walked a mile and they got broken in, you walked 10 miles, and next thing you know, you walked, I don't know, let's say 500 miles over a year or something, who knows, and those shoes are loose and they're not as strong and the soles are worn out and the shoelaces maybe are breaking and things like that. That's the narcissistic relationship in a nutshell. What they did is they put the mask on, and the mask was super glued to their face in the beginning of the relationship, just like those shoes were nice and snug and tight when you first put them on. But then over time, the shoes got loose, just like the mask. And eventually the mask needed to be replaced, and so did the shoes. Why I say that is because that's what the narcissist does. They're caught up in the narcissistic abusive cycle. It just goes around and around and around. And the one constant in that cycle is themselves. It's not you. But they try to inflict the most damage upon people. They try to cause the most pain. They try to drive wedges between anything that mattered to you and yourself, which includes your own kids, your money, your assets, your time. Think about divorcing the narcissist. Did it go swimmingly? Did it go quickly? No, it didn't. It was dragged out on purpose. And the narcissist did everything that under their will and their power to make sure that you paid the price, because they wanted to make sure that you did not get one over on them. In other words, that you didn't win the custody or the divorce case. What they wanted to do was slowly bleed you. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. So before I close the video, I want to share this. How can the narcissist wear the mask for so long? They can wear the mask if they're getting what they want and getting what they need, and they can also have time away from you in the beginning and throughout a lot of that relationship. That mask will stay glued on for a long time. It really will. Now, if you have to be with them 24/7 for a year straight, that's not going to go over too well. 5 years, 10 years, that's not going to go over well at all. But when the narcissist has time away from you, whether you were married to them or not, and they can recalibrate and reset, and they can come back and put the game face on again and act like everything's great, that's what they need to do. That's why they need to regulate themselves. That's why they need other people. That's why they need sources of supply. That's why they are addicted to people. And that's the whole conundrum of the narcissistic relationship. They have you believing that you need them. That's the trauma bond. Truth of the matter is they needed you, and they need the new supply right now also, and they need people. You don't need people. One thing I will share with you, post-narcissistic relationship, when you've risen through the ashes like a phoenix and you've healed, you've reached the pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference, I will tell you one thing. You have slowed your life down, and you understand who fits into your life and who doesn't, and who did and who didn't in the past. And you've taken and learned the lifelong learning lessons from the narcissistic relationship, and you've applied them to present day. You don't predict the future. You don't give your time or your empathy or your love or energy away to anybody any longer. You now have boundaries. You now are in the third version of you, the most strongest galvanized version of you known to humankind. And you are now in a great place. That's if you've healed or if you're well on the healing path, reaching that pinnacle of indifference, that mountaintop of indifference. That's a place the narcissist never thought you would arrive at. That's a place that they do know exists. However, they did not think you were strong enough to make that climb and to reach the pinnacle, but you're doing it or you're there. Drop comments below. So before I close the video, how can the narcissist keep the mask on for so many years? It's because it's the only thing they know. They know how to do that, and they know when to turn the gas on when you're getting close to figuring out who they are, and they know where to disappear to recharge the battery so they can come back and that mask is glued on tighter again for a period of time. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the windy Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You're not alone. God bless you. I love you all. It is cold, so I'm going to go. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. God bless you. I love you guys. Bye. And yes, again, I did say y'all. Bye.